Now that you're familiar with the basics, we can start piecing it together. This is a short sequence for the whole body, but specifically for your shoulders and your hips. Let's get into it. Feet roughly hip width apart. As your baby grows, you may feel to take them wider for stability. Palms reach. Find your center of gravity, otherwise known as your central column. Interlace your fingers, let the elbows float, and now round the upper back. Inhale, the hands float up. Lengthen the whole body so the thighs are strong. And now spread the arms as wide as they'll go until you can interlace your hands behind your back. Soften the knees, float the chest, and exhale to fold at the hip joint. Check for yourself that the head is completely let go. And depending on how the legs feel, you may wish to start to straighten them or bring the weight slightly forward. Drawing up here through the pelvic floor. And now let the head float up, hands come to the lower back. Soften the knees as you come up to standing. The arms come to shoulder height so we can float the arms back. Raise the chest once again. The pelvis also tilts back here, but draw up firmly through the belly to protect your lumbar spine. And then closing the opposite way, we find ourselves at our starting position. Again, we inhale to standing. Whole body very strong, very open and confident. Spread the arms wide. This time keep the thighs very strong and use the strength of your upper back to take your hands alongside your body and then sweep them down into a very fulfilling forward bend. Soften your knees to sweep your right foot back and stack the body, sending energy down through the legs. You'll feel with this action a strengthening and an earthing, a downward flow of energy. This is of course the very same energy we're drawing upon when we give birth. And simply being heavier due to the weight of your baby helps this deep connection. Float the arms wide, but keep the shoulders low. Interlace the hands so you can pull up the muscles of the upper arms. And now turn the hips to find a width or a breadth in this position here. Typically we gaze over the front arm, but check that both ears are a level distance from the floor. Again, your central column perfectly aligned, so that now as we tilt the upper body, we don't compromise this form. There's no kinks in the thoracic spine. Again, we can widen at the hips and give a strong rotation to the top arm, so that as the arm comes alongside the head, you can gaze up in front of the upper arm. If that causes any strain in the neck, then try looking down to your big toe. But again, whichever you decide, the ears are a level distance from the floor. This helps us to strengthen even the core muscles of the neck. Here we pull up the thighs. Again, send energy down through the legs. Both arms are active, and the very same positioning for the head. Big toe, or perhaps if you feel stable, a point on the ceiling. In triangle pose, we're feeling for the double action. This lower hip reaching for the back wall. At the same time, this open hip here is rotating back. Very strong. The inhale brings us up. And the exhale back to warrior. With the inhale, with the exhale. Now the more restful part of the sequence. We settle into pigeon pose. hips are now aligned or parallel with the short edge of your mat, so that again your spine stays nicely on the midline. One of the most wonderful poses during pregnancy. Not only for your comfort, but also for the comfort of your baby. By stretching the muscles of the buttocks, you're improving the oxygenation, the circulation to your baby, to your placenta, and also to the muscles of the womb. A slightly deeper stretch here. Bring the front leg to the midline and tuck the back knee in directly behind. Spread the feet enough that you can sink your hips back, but keep your weight slightly forward so that you can feel the deep fold at the hip joint rather than folding it back. Use the weight of the upper body dropping down to find this gorgeous release for the outer hips. This one is particularly useful if you're finding it uncomfortable in bed and you strain in the outer hips as you rest. You can turn the right palm up, thumb points firmly back, bring the arm alongside the ear, and then the opposite. The left arm, the thumb points down, even behind. And then see if the hands might meet. If not, you can still get a wonderful stretch, either holding onto your bra or your shirt, or if you have some form of a rope or strap on hand. Spread the arms wide. Of course, any of these positions you can come back to and hold for so long as they feel good. Here we roll the shoulders back again, raise the heart, and this single stretch offers such tremendous relief to the shoulders. I always find the next day my shoulders are completely comfortable. Here's a way to deepen the hip stretch. Of course, it depends on the size of your baby, but even so, you can use the weight of your upper body, even including your baby, to help get this lovely squashing action in the lower body. To come out of the position, use your hands as you like, in front or behind. Now here, ideally we come back to dog pose. If you find you have been getting dizzy in any way, you may wish to come to a plank position, or even come down to resting child. The benefits of dog pose are that your baby is encouraged out of your pelvis. This allows your baby to find optimal positioning. It becomes more and more relevant as you get closer to birth. It also feels great for your body to take the weight off the pelvic floor, off the lower back. And in fact, it's one of the first practices I recommend, very gently of course, postnatally. A counter stretch to the hips. Notice to take the knees wide, bring the big toes together, slide the hips toward the floor, but just check for yourself that there's no major dip in the lower back. You might find you get the best stretch by bringing the hips further forward, or you may find that rolling the hips right back to your heels offers the most relief for you. Recover in a child pose. And inhale through all fours. To plank if you like, or perhaps back to dog. now we spring the right leg through. Springing through as your baby grows often requires that you take your foot wide. And then you can align the knee back to the center again. Stack the upper body, ground through the legs, breathe the arms up. Strong upper arms, neck beautifully long. Turning the hips as we breathe in. Drop the hips as we breathe out. Inhale. The exhale. Inhale. The exhale. The inhale. The exhale. The inhale. The exhale. Pause and let the breath flow right down. The body floats back upright. Knee to the midline. Gomukhasan, or the mouth of the cow pose. Opposite arm to top leg. And number one position for reproductive health. Spread the arms and open the chest. Deep hip stretch. Rolling the pelvis forward. Unravel plank, child or dog. Realize how much you've learned. Now stepping forward. Seek the width as we started. Fulfill the forward bend. Hopefully the legs feel much warmer, more elastic. Lift the pelvic floor. And sweep the fingertips back, the head roughly the same height. And pause halfway just to let the blood redistribute through the body. And all the way to standing with your inhale. Here's the midline. And slide the hands back to the heart. Feeling more centered physically, but mentally and emotionally also. And offering this centered state freely to your child. What a pleasure to have you join me. Thank you for allowing me to do what I love. I hope you find as much pleasure as I do. Namaste.